The baby hadn't looked at anyone in months, until a golden retriever entered the room and she couldn't take her eyes off him. For many months, their little girl had been completely silent. She didn't react to anything, didn't laugh, didn't even look at anyone. The doctors had no answers. They were losing hope until this golden retriever came into their home. The baby looked at the dog like nothing else existed. When the father figured out why, he was absolutely amazed. Before you watch, remember to like and subscribe so you don't miss another touching story like this one, and write in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is there. Her father, Ethan, slammed his hand on the table hard, making a glass rattle. Slowly, "Emma, she's not a delayed train," he shouted. "She's our child and she doesn't make any sound. Do you get that?" Not a single sound. The baby was sitting on the floor clutching her pink blanket tightly, her round cheeks pressed against the soft material like she was trying to disappear. She was almost 1 year old now, and she should have been making noises, laughing at people's voices, looking around when someone called her name. But she never did any of those things. Ethan paced across the small living room, his face showing worry and frustration. "I'm telling you, something is wrong," he said. "She doesn't even look up when I call her name." His wife Emma was sitting next to the baby, trying to get her to smile. "She's just growing slowly," Emma said. "Some kids take longer." Her voice was shaking. She didn't sound convinced by her own words. The baby glanced up when she heard the bang, but then she looked down again, retreating into her own silent world. Ethan noticed this and felt a sharp pain in his chest. He knelt down and snapped his fingers gently right near her face. She showed no reaction whatsoever. Emma tried to soothe him. The doctor said to wait. "We need to be patient. If we pressure her too much, it won't." "I'm done waiting," Ethan said, his jaw clenched. He looked at their daughter and said softly, "It's like she doesn't even know we're here." Emma flinched like he'd struck her, her hand holding the baby's shoulder tighter. "Don't talk like that. She's our daughter. She knows we're here. She must." But deep inside, they both understood the reality. There were moments when it felt like their little girl existed somewhere far away, somewhere beyond their reach. That night, Ethan sat at the kitchen table, staring at his phone, his head in his hands. He looked through article after article, each one offering different answers. Special therapy, music classes, dietary changes. None of it seemed like it would help. He wanted something concrete, something he could hold on to. Then he came across an ad, a listing for a golden retriever that needed a home. The photo showed kind brown eyes and a gorgeous golden coat. Something about the peaceful look in those eyes made him stop. He'd never wanted a dog, but when you're desperate, unusual ideas start seeming reasonable. Emma walked into the room, noticed what he was viewing on his screen, and her expression changed. "A dog," she said. "You honestly think a dog will fix this?" "I don't know," Ethan said tersely. "But maybe she needs something else, not us, not more doctors, something living that won't criticize her, something she could actually bond with." Emma shook her head firmly. "We can hardly handle caring for her now. And now you want to add an animal to this situation. What if it hurts her? What if it scares her?" Ethan's voice grew louder. "She's already scared, Emma, scared of everything, including us." He pounded his fist on the table. "I refuse to sit here watching while our daughter fades away." They fought for hours that night. Emma said he was avoiding reality, that he was looking for some impossible miracle. Ethan said she had stopped trying. Their harsh words cut deep, bouncing off the walls until eventually the baby began whimpering in her crib. Both parents fell silent instantly, shame overwhelming their anger. The following day, Ethan went alone to meet the dog. He told Emma she didn't have to join him. She said nothing in response. The animal shelter smelled strongly of disinfectant and damp dog. A staff member led Ethan through a corridor past many cages. Dogs were barking all around, but then at the far end, it was peaceful. A large golden retriever sat quietly, watching him with calm, kind eyes. "That's Max," the staff member said. "He's a gentle, loving dog. His owners had to relocate. He's a little lost right now, but he's truly sweet." Ethan bent down by the cage bars, meeting the dog's gaze. Max didn't bark or back away. He simply turned his head sideways, his soft ears dropping forward, almost as if asking, "What took you so long?" Ethan felt something tighten in his throat. For months, he'd watched his baby and received no response. Now, this dog with a single glance made him feel truly seen. "I'll take him," Ethan said, his voice strained, and the staff member looked startled. "Don't you want to learn more first? Don't you want to interact with him?" "No," Ethan said decisively. "I'm getting him now." His tone left no room for debate. On the drive home, Max sat calmly in the back seat, his feathery tail curled around him, his golden ears laid back. Ethan watched him in the rearview mirror. "You better be worth this," he muttered, gripping the wheel tightly. "Because if you can't connect with her, no one can." When he drove into their driveway, Emma stood on the front porch with her arms folded, her eyes stern and distant. "You actually did it," she said coldly. Ethan opened the door and led the dog out. Max shook himself, his thick golden fur moving in waves in the sunlight. The baby sat on Emma's hip, staring with huge eyes at this unfamiliar creature. Ethan looked at his daughter, then at the dog, his voice tired and rough. "Yes, I did. Now let's see what happens." Max entered the living room, his golden fur shining in the afternoon light streaming through the windows. He sniffed once, then settled calmly in the center of the carpet, his feathery tail brushing the floor. Ethan was about to speak when he saw something strange. His baby girl had become completely motionless. Her small hands were gripping the pink blanket even harder. Her little legs in striped pants were tense and locked against the floor. She wasn't crying, she wasn't looking away, she was staring right at the dog. Emma shifted uncomfortably. "Ethan, watch what she's doing." He moved closer, his heart racing in his chest. For all these months, his daughter had refused to look directly at anyone, passing by people like they were invisible. Now, her big, dark eyes were fixed on Max like he was everything in the world. She wasn't even blinking. Her tiny chest rose and fell with rapid, shallow breaths. "She's never stared at anyone like this," Ethan whispered. "Never." Minutes passed. The dog shifted his head slightly, and still the baby remained frozen. Her eyes followed his smallest movements like she grasped something no one else did. Emma's voice trembled. "This isn't right. Why is she watching him so closely?" Ethan shook his head rapidly. No, this isn't wrong. She's connecting with him." His voice wavered, somewhere between amazement and terror. Then something occurred. The baby parted her small lips. A faint sound emerged, wobbly but intentional, like she was purposely trying. Her eyes stayed locked on Max's face. Ethan lunged forward. She made a noise. "Emma!" She made an actual noise. Emma gasped sharply, her hand covering her mouth. No, she's just babbling randomly, that's all." But then the dog released a soft whimpering sound. It was low and full, filling the entire room. The baby's eyes grew even larger. She babbled once more, this time stronger, almost like she was matching the same frequency and rhythm. Ethan's eyes became blurry. He clutched his head with both hands, shaking it side to side. Why does she respond to him? Why just him and no one else? The baby suddenly laughed, still gazing directly at Max without breaking eye contact. Her little hands patted the blanket, and her face brightened with complete joy. She giggled and babbled again. Her eyes stayed on the dog like he was the first real being she had ever encountered. Ethan's chest felt heavy and tight. A frightening realization began forming in his mind. "Emma," he said, and his voice broke. "She's not watching him because she enjoys him. She's watching him because she can truly hear him." Emma stood perfectly still. "What do you mean?" Ethan's eyes filled with tears as he began connecting the pieces. "Think about this carefully. She never responds to anything we say. Not to our words, not to music, not to her noisy toys, but she responds to him. His sounds are deeper, lower in frequency. She's focused on him because those are the only sounds she can truly detect." Emma stepped backward, tears running down her face. "Oh my God, Ethan. She's been staring because she's finally sensing something. For the absolute first time in her whole life, she's hearing clearly. That's why she can't look away from him. That's why she's reacting to him." He covered his eyes with both fists. "We believed we had lost her completely. We believed something was damaged in her, but she was simply waiting for a sound she could finally perceive and comprehend." The baby cried out again, extending her small arms toward Max. The dog gently dropped his head, allowing her tiny fingers to sink into his thick golden fur. She giggled, a clear and beautiful sound that cut through Ethan's heart like a blade. He fell to his knees, crying uncontrollably. "She can't hear us whatsoever, but she can hear him." Emma dropped beside him, putting her arm around his trembling shoulders. Together they remained there observing as their daughter and the dog stayed connected in a wordless conversation. Her eyes never shifting for even an instant, her small voice lifting repeatedly to match his sounds. For the absolute first time, the quietness that had consumed their home was finally shattered, and the father sat there shocked, devastated, and thankful all at once, finally understanding the true explanation behind his daughter's endless, unwavering staring. Did you enjoy this story? If your child hadn't responded to you in months, would you have taken a chance on a dog to help your child, yes or no? And do you have experience with dogs, maybe even with a golden retriever? Tell us in the comments. If you like the story, subscribe to this channel and leave a like. Thanks so much for listening. See you in the next video. Have a great day.